Hi, I'm Donna Dewberry, the original creator of the FolkArt One Stroke painting technique. I'm here today in the Plaid studio with another Let's Paint FolkArt One Stroke hometown lesson. I've done hometown all year long and I'm having so much fun painting different elements of your hometown. From barns to churches to different home elements like windows and doors. I just have had so much fun creating signs and sentiments that we put on those paintings. Now today I'm doing one of my favorite all year, and that is November. November's got this beautiful sign about family and friends that I just am dying to put in my house. And I picked some of the flowers I love the most. How many of you love my roses? This is a fun, simple rose that you are gonna have fun with, I promise you. And we have these beautiful colored leaves, and these leaves change from color to color. And it's easy doing it the one stroke way. So what I would like to share with you that has made this fun and easy for us, those words I like all year long, is that we have another plaid kit that is made for one stroke painters, which is called Hometown FolkArt One Stroke Kit. And Plaid has put this on their site. I want to share how to get to that site so that you can see everything that's in this kit. So it's plaidonline.com/Let's Paint, and then go click Hometown to see the kit. And in this kit, there's a hand-painted folder by me where you can put all 12 of my reusable teaching guides I've done for every lesson throughout the year. And then we have luscious, wonderful FolkArt multi-surface paint. We have FolkArt One Stroke paintbrushes. We even have stencil brush because we put an upper and lowercase stencil in this kit so that you can personalize this for you. So let me tell you that there is something else that's brand new and that I haven't had before in one of my kits, and that is templates and sentiments and words and phrases that are going to be wonderful for you to trace right on and put them on your projects all year long. So doesn't that sound fun? Well, I'm ready to go paint this project with you in the Plaid studio. So let's go and let's start painting. So this is the beautiful piece I can't wait to put in my home. I want you to see the beautiful spray of flowers, which are going to be right here in our teaching guide. This reusable teaching guide is made so you paint right on top of it. And we make all these strokes, simple numbered strokes. I'll show you how fun those are. Little branches, and then all these different leaves and how to get yummy colors. But what I want you to see is the FolkArt multi-surface paint we're using and what colors. So what I would like for you to do before we get started is pull your colors, and they're right in your hometown kit along with your floating medium and your brushes. And we're going to use the 3/4 flat, 12 flat, and the 2 script liner. And what I want to share with you on colors is we're using Wicker white, yellow ochre, burnt umber, sap green, apple red, moon yellow, and licorice. I'm going to teach you how to do some blending, which is really fun, and also how we get all these yummy colors. Also, we're going to mix and make a great background color for us to do this project with. We're going to learn how to do this lettering, how to place it out, and all of this is available in templates in your hometown kit. So I'm going to get to that in a minute, but the first thing I want to share with you is how to make this background so we're ready to paint this project. We found this great surface that has a frame on it already. It's got like a chalk finish here, which is great for base coating. And I'm going to put our teaching guide to the side, and let's start making some of this color. All right, so I'm taking Wicker White multi-surface paint. It's FolkArt multi-surface. I've fallen in love with this paint because what it does is it's got a nice beautiful satin sheen and it's got a sealer inside, so as we're painting and working with our project, as it dries, then it's got this sheen on it. Can you see how nice that sheen is? And when we paint, if you don't like something, we can take and wipe it off real quick because it's all sealed and nice to work with. So you're going to love the vivid colors and how much fun we have with this. You know what I've decided? This is what I would normally put, but we have a lot to paint, so I'm going to put more paint. There's Wicker White, and we've got some licorice. I need more. I'm not going to use all that licorice, but I want to make sure I have it. And I also want to put floating medium over here. So that's the fluff that's inside paint with no pigment, and we use this instead of water. We're using our 3/4 inch flat, and I'm going to dampen that. That's what we're going to paint with. And the first thing I want to do is pull in just a piece of that licorice with the white and start mixing before I get too much of the licorice in here to get the color I want. And this is important. Lots of people take all that and all this and put it together, and then they have a mess because they've used their whole bottle of white up, and that has truly happened. So let me show you that it's easier to do this and then pull in a little bit more until we get a nice, good consistency. And I can show you that I can mix it till I can get this medium gray color. And make sure you make enough, try to make enough that's going to cover everything you're doing. Okay, so there we go. And sometimes it darkens a little bit when it dries, I found. Usually not much lighter when it dries. But I'm going to come here and take some of it off because I've got a lot and I'm still going to paint with it. I'm going to get some floating medium and work it in so it works with me really well. I'm going to start at the top up here, and I want you to see that we're going along the inside with the corners really good. I go both corners. All right, now the key, this is like a chalky finish, so I want you to see the key is that we're going in one direction. After I've gone around the edge there at the top, I want to be pulling these down. Now you could leave your outside border frame here, but what we've done is we decided to accent with a color in here of licorice and the outside's white. So I'm not being real picky about whether I touch the edge on the inside. So let's pull this over here, and I want you to see that's important that we get this nice smooth move, and it's sucking up into this chalk, so it's a chalky finish. It might just be flat paint, but you don't know what finish. Usually you will find sometimes when it looks like this grease board or a dry erase board that it would be really shiny. And then that takes a little bit of skill too, because you will probably have to do 2 coats. This did really well in 1 coat because it had a flat background. All right, so, or base coat. I'm going to pick up floating medium more here. A little bit more. See, that's turned out to be a nice color. Now what I'm going to do is get to a certain point here. I'm going to finish it up, but I want to show you. I'm going to come back and finish the whole piece, but right now I want to stop right there and show you how I'm going to do the trim and a little bit of an accent on the trim. So let's just leave this right like this. I don't want, one thing that's important when you're base coating, don't leave a hard straight edge. See how that's feathered in here? But if I went here really straight, you'll always see that ridge. So don't do that. And then I'm going to wash this gray out. And then I want you to come right in here. See this? I'm going to take licorice on both sides of this clean brush. All right, maybe a little bit of floating medium. All right, so I'm going to go in the corner. And I'm going to go all along here and pull up. Make sure you get plenty of paint, floating medium and paint. See how I kind of chisel along there? And that's picking up a lot of gray, so I want to come back here and just pull up really nicely. And then we do the same thing at the top here. So I did more than one coat in some spots because it showed through, but I've got the coat all on here ready, the black trim all on. So then I want you to see that we're picking up the wicker white, and to make this not now go onto the black, you're going to take on the top and stroke outwards like this as you go around, okay, and put a nice coat. And then it's easier, guys, when we get on the outside, because you don't have to worry about, you can go back and forth like this because then the white gets on the top and it's fine. So you could do the sides first, right along here. And then you just come from there because you have run over on the top a little bit, and then go all the way around, okay? So I am going to flip this around because what I want to show you is a fun fly specking that we did with a toothbrush on here. And I thought that was really pretty. So I am going to dip into the water with the toothbrush. It's just an everyday toothbrush. Dip in water. And we want it kind of watery. Do you see this? How pretty that turned out? Well, then I want you to try it too. I got water on here. I want to get this off from my toothbrush. Okay. I want to come right here and flick it a little bit and see if I'm lacking the color. I'm going to go ahead and flick it on here. If I was, I might put it on paper or something so I don't get it all over the table, but it can wipe off while I'm going here. And you would do that all the way around. So I want you to see any place you don't like it, you can take it off easy. We do that lots on an ocean beach, like shells. And some people, when they're painting, say, oh, I don't want that in my water. Well, it doesn't bother me, usually. But if it does bother you, where it gets in other places, then you can wipe it up easy. But see how fun that was? So now the next step, I'm going to put this aside and let that dry a little bit. But the next step is that we are going to put this aside and let me show you the lettering that we're going to do and the next step. Because after that's all dry, we're going to have, remember in our kit you have your reusable worksheet. And we also have these wonderful templates. This is page 17, and this is the home saying pattern. I love this saying, home is where love resides, memories are created, friends always belong, and laughter never ends. Isn't that great? And so what we've done, I want to show you how simple this is going to be for you. So you're taking tracing paper. You're going to lay the tracing paper over each half of the saying, and you're going to trace over it with a permanent marker. Then as soon as you get the first half done, these are spaced perfect to lay right next to each other. And we're going to flip this over, and you're going to trace this side. All right, so I love that we're pairing fonts here. You have script and you have other style fonts to put together, which makes it interesting. Before I teach you the lettering, I want to share how to place this onto our surface because I don't want to start painting till I know how much space I have to paint. So I want to lay this out onto the board in front of you and show you the steps to make that happen, okay? So you can decide personally how you want to lay this, and I'll share with you how I put them here, but I also want to take and put some tape. So I've taken a ruler just to share with you that this top H was at 5. So if I put this here on my board, it depends on what surface you're using, this is the top, but then I want to make sure that it's level, okay? And so I'm going to put some tape so we can move it easily, or not move it. All right, so if I take this and it's 1 and an 8, and we can move it over to the left slightly. All right, but what we're really looking at is this is 1 1/4 and 1 1/4. Okay, so we've got this laid out, and then just to share with you, this is going to go next, and make sure that you're happy with that layout. But before I start laying that on, I'm going to go ahead and start transferring the first one. All right, I have white graphite paper, and many of you have used gray graphite paper. You want to make sure that you have the chalky side down, and you want to slide it under your letters that you're going to transfer first. Okay, so I want you to see that I am going to trace right along this line, and take your time, tape it down good so you can go within those lines. Now we're going to come on the outside edge, and this is the important thing. You do not lift this tape up until you lift this. And you know what? I always tell you to go check it. Go check it and see if it's, see? If the tracing's turning out for you. All right. So you see how bright that was? It looks like it's going to be perfect for us. Now what I like about these initials or lettering is that it gets thicker and then thinner as you go in different places, like a script, which I think is so fun. So it's very important that you look, make sure that you've got this all lined up like it should be, that it's transferring well. And the most important thing about making this turn out beautiful is that you have transferred it properly, that it's measured right, that it's going to be straight, and that's the first battle. If you get that all nice and level and straight and positioned and transferred properly, you're going to have success. Now's the perfect time to pause the video while I'm working on this and you're working on yours, and we'll come back and see our success. I finished tracing on the upper half of my pattern. I still have the other half to go, but I want to pull this graphite paper out and share with you that this is what it's going to look like now, and it's ready for me. I can especially see where I'm going to paint my design, and then I would continue and put the second half on here. But what I want to do at this point is I would like to go and share with you the how to do the lettering. So I'm going to pull this here and be ready to share with you. This was already traced on here. So, and I've already prepped this a little bit, but what I want to do is pull out the colors that I was using earlier. We're going to use our script liner. Okay, I'm still going to use my script liner, come in here and make an inky puddle so that the bristles stay together, and so we get a nice full brush to be able to stroke on here, okay? So, and this is Wicker white. And so I'm going to turn this so that I can get to the letters themselves, and I'm going to put pressure and lift, light, and then pressure as I come around. And I'm just staying inside those lines, okay? So I'm going to come up here, and then when I get to here, I need pressure. And see, when you put pressure on this 2 script liner, see how it fills in for you? But what you do want to do is you're going to, I'm going to come back here a minute and touch this, and I want this to be a smoother transition right here. But I'm going to come right across here, and then a little bit of pressure. So I like to always kind of pull it towards me. It's not very easy to push it away. All right, so make sure I fill in that whole area. All right. Now I'm going to come back here and put pressure to come across. And that's what I love about my liner. You can get really thin lines, or you can pull and get real full lines. All right. Okay, if there's little streaks in there, I can come back after I'm all done, after it settles, and then put a second little coat on there. Because it does show through with the medium gray color that we have here. All right, so I'm going to come right across here. Except I've got to see where I'm going. So you just go across there a couple times so you fill in that area. And see, I need to smooth this out so it's not, there we go. So it's not jagged looking. Then we're going to come across here. Come across here, push down. As you followed me this year, we've done all types of lettering and ombres and fun techniques that are even new to me, so that was exciting. But what you're going to love about this is one of the simplest lettering that we've done all year, because all we're doing is painting within the lines and then doing a little bit of outlining just on the script words. So you'll see that it will go quick, especially if you take the time, like we said, to trace it nicely. Take your time, get a really nice pattern on here. And so to me, what happened with that is that when you're tracing on tracing paper with a permanent marker, make sure you have a ruler along when you're doing a smaller ruler, not this big ruler, when you're doing the straight lines, and it will make that nicer and neater. And then by the time you transfer that onto tracing paper, then you're going to have to graphite it onto and transfer it onto your project. So those are the most important steps. This part right here will be a lot easier for you if you have it all, your homework done first, right? Okay, so now I want to show you, these are little square letters with the the top and the bottom are more flat. So this is when I like to have a ruler underneath when I'm transferring these. So I put a line here, a line there, and all of these little guys are with a straight line except the S and some of the other letters that would be at an angle, this little flat piece. Like for instance, this S here, it would be coming straight down and straight down. All right, so you can see some of these, the S, that's pretty much it, but I would think that a J or a G, Q. All right, so we're gonna come across here, and then it fans out a little bit and goes to your straight. Around, and break it and come around the other way. Doing lettering on your pieces customizes it. You can personalize it. I used to do a lot of wedding wine glasses and signs. I just finished a sign for friends of mine at church for their son who was getting married. And it was really easy because I had a pattern and it was a real script and it was just gold lettering on a black background. So it was really fun that I could actually do it. So Chris, who works with me here, does beautiful, beautiful lettering, and she's so creative with it that I'd always admired how she's lettered, and so she did a lot to help me during this year to make me look better, nowhere near the quality of Chris, but it improved me, and that's what I'm hoping, just even if you're a beginner, if you're doing some of this new lettering that you've never done before, it makes you feel like you've achieved something really wonderful. Like when I did that wedding plaque, I took all kinds of pictures. I didn't show it to anybody, but I couldn't believe I did it. So now all we have to do after we've got the white in is we're going to come under all the script words like home and love and do on the left and bottom of each one of those. And so with sign painting, you would see if the light's coming from the right, then it would be all on the left and the bottom. So that's kind of what we're working with. I'm making this really inky. I'm rolling the brush. So I'm going to roll it so it's not too full of paint. And I'm going to start at the over here at the top, and I got really big here. And then I go at the bottom. But we want this to disappear at the top. All right. So then we're going to start here and bring it on this side and on this side, which is on the left of that side. And then we're going to be on the left. So we start thin and we push down and then we go underneath thin. Okay? So I'm just going to touch this one spot up. I want you to see, well, I have to put white there now because I waited too long and it dried up. Okay, so we're going to pick up and go on the bottom of here and here. A little bit here. All right, so on the left, so we're little at the top, then we get heavier. Right here, but remember when we come under here, we're light. So we're going to come along here. And then we start here, and then we lift it. A little bit on this side. We're going to go around here. And then in there. So sometimes I just come along here and just touch all the ones that are easy to hit from that side. And then I come back and do all the bottoms. All right, so we're across here, across there. Across the bottom, then we have to do the inside of the E. On the left inside, a little bit right there. And on the bottom of here. Am I missing anywhere else? Okay, so let's look at the love. We're going to come right along here. And also on this side of here, of the L. Underneath here. And you can see how good this M looks already. This is underneath and the left right here. And we do want the bottom of this L, the left over here. And the left, bottom. So you have to like say that to yourself and make sure that you're hitting it at all the right, you're stroking it at all the right places. And I still sometimes have to sit there and think it out and make sure that I have hit all the lefts and the bottoms. Okay? All right, so now look at the memories. Can you see how smooth, how you're going to come across to make sure? And you can take and do underneath the dot. So what I do need to do to clean mine up is it looks like I need a little bit more coat, another coat, second coat. But the first coat makes it really easy for you to come back and do a second coat. And then on right here where I wanted to touch this up, where I went over it, I can come in here easier and put a nice second coat on here. Because there's some spots that definitely didn't have enough paint on it of the white. And I can clean up if I touch a little bit with the black. Okay? So just take your time. I'm trying to be quick so I can get to teaching you the rest of this project. But this takes a little bit of practice, but it might take you a while to get all the lettering in, but it's going to be worth it, right? So this is a perfect time for you to finish your lettering because you can start this video right up as soon as you're through and you'll be ready to do the next steps with me. So take your time and get it like you would like it and come back and let's learn some more strokes. All right? We're going to be learning the strokes to put on to decorate our piece with. I'll see you in a minute. So now I'm ready to help you figure out how to lay out your design over your pattern. And so we made a pattern here, traced a pattern. So now I'm going to take chalk and we're going to lay out a design up here that'll be easy for you to follow. And what I chose first is when I was looking at this and we wanted a November painting, I looked at fall colors and something that I would like in my home and also have those beautiful fall colors. Now these are perfect colors to go in my home with the reds and the burgundies, and they're perfect to hang for the seasons too, through the fall and winter, or hang year round. So I'm thrilled about berries. I love the beautiful different shades of leaves, and I thought that would be an interesting thing to teach you, is how to get the multicolors in the leaves and how simple that really is. The one thing I want you to learn with me is how to do those strokes to make this a pretty rose. And this rose is actually pretty simple when you see the short little strokes we're going to make that look really pretty and layered. So the first thing I'm going to talk to you about is when you're looking at this, I want you to see a triangle. And so triangles don't all have to be the same size, and they don't have to be the same color, but this looks really nice with the whites pulled in to go with your lettering. So I'm going to have a large, a half of a rose, and a bud. There are places where you could add more buds, but I didn't want to go crazy on that painting part of this. I wanted it to be elegant and just enough to accent the phrase that we have put on here, the same. All right, so the first thing I want to do is, if you look at this, it's 4 fingers wide. Now, lots of people make it too small or way too big. So to lay out this first rose design and lay out the triangle that I want, I'm going to move this here so hopefully you can still see the perspective. And I'm going to have the 4 fingers all the way around. All right, that's a little big. Let's make it a little. All right, so then over here I wanted a half of one, half of rose, and we're going to put leaves and all in here. And then we put where the rosebud's going to go. All right, now if it's a true triangle, this would be a little bit lower. I was a little bit high on mine. So then I want twigs, and not branches, but little twigs. All right, and what I thought would be really nice for this project is not to have it mimicked exactly side to side. And you'll notice that some of the things, the elements I painted, are a little more sparse in some areas and heavier in other areas, and I did that purposely. So if you like the symmetric better, then you can do that yourself. It's up to you. But wherever I put this little vine, I'm going to branch off of it with little branches that are going to be burnt umber. And then I had the little berries that come in here. Okay. Now I'm going to just do them as we go and figure out how many that we want, depending on, like I have some berries in here, a couple in here, over here. But like I said, you could do them as you go. You don't have to draw them in right now. So then I'm going to have a few larger leaves. Now these larger leaves are going to be there, and then I have another one of a brighter color on top on some of them. Over here, I have a medium-sized leaf. And try not to get crazy on sizes, okay? I did down here do this more maple leaf, and this is way easier if you draw it, because then you can follow the shape of the leaf. So we've drawn one there, and we have a few others in here, and then there's a big fancy one over here, which it was another fall leaf I liked, and it just came out, and it's a little bit longer. Can you see that? And when I do this leaf, it's up at a reverse or a V. It's like a V. Okay. And then I can come back up here. Okay, so that's probably the biggest leaf I put. This one's a little bit smaller than this one. All right, I have another leaf in here. And then down here, I did a little fancy one that had all those pretty colors also. So it's bigger at the top, a smaller one, and then a point. See, make sure larger, medium, or part way, and then end with the point. All right, so other than that, I'm just going to put in a few little berries that are little handle dip dots, and I put a little black tip in those, like a stem coming out. And the key is all the pretty colors that we're going to use, okay? All right, so I think that'll help you. If we go practice now, you know that we want to do those berries. And we can come back and practice those berries right before we do them, because I don't want you to forget them. But first thing that we're going to do is the major rose and show you how fun that rose is to create, okay? So let's get our reusable teaching guide. We can paint right on top of here and then wipe off and stroke again until we feel comfortable with it. You can get paper to practice, like stroke on here, learn it, and stroke it on cardstock, but paper is dry. And so it's almost better to keep wiping off and practicing on your reusable teaching guides. That's the beauty of them. And so this is using a 3/4 flat, and it has everything on here that you need. I used wicker white, yellow ochre, and a touch of burnt umber. And sometimes it's nice to use the gray that's underneath, that gray tone. We're just going to work with the wicker white and yellow ochre, bringing a little bit of the burnt umber in, because I made it a little bit darker on here so you could see it on the white background. But as you saw on the original, I am a little bit lighter, more white. Okay, so you can see where the more white with the yellow tones. All right, so there's the side view, there's the bud, and we can stroke right on top of this. Now, I like you to fold into quarters a paper towel, and we wet the end of this so we have a nice eraser, because this paint's made to go on many surfaces and it won't come off very well easily if you let it sit there and dry. Okay, so first thing, I wet my brush, lay it on the paper towel to get the excess moisture out of it. I'm going to come right here, go back and forth, and pick up, split the brush in the double loader, and then I'm going to come over here and work it in. Okay, so you work it till it's fast. It's a quick movement, and you do that so it goes inside the bristles. All right, when you're inside the bristles, it keeps the bristles from splitting open when you're trying to stroke. Now I want you to look at something. If I lay this down, can you see how much water's still in there? It runs right out. Okay, so I didn't get enough of that water out before I loaded it. That's a problem that some people have too. So now I put more paint in, and I'm putting lots of pressure, pushing hard, and quick. And not because I want you to be quick, but because I want you to work it inside the bristles. Okay? Now from this point, I'm going to touch a little bit of burnt umber and work that in. And that's just to mute the yellow a little bit, the yellow ochre. All right. So now what we're going to do, I'm going to dip, flatten. So you could dip this, and flatten, and then you're ready to paint. All right. So one thing you do is I made a loading spot here for you to see if we've got the same color. Now remember, I wanted it to be a little bit lighter and not so brown on this one, but so it looks like it's got a nice blend, which is important. All right, I picked up a little bit more white, and then this is the one stroke that we're doing across the back. So instead of a wiggle, you might have seen me do more wiggles. We're not doing that. We're doing a nice smooth wave. All right, so we wipe that off. Okay, and then so we're going to do those back here first. So one is doing one there, two, and I need to come back over here and get some paint, and I can do a touch of burnt umber too. All right, now we don't need floating medium because we're on the teaching guide and it's real slick. So there's 3, and then 4, we're going to come right here and come around. All right, so then this is what's going to happen. 5, 6, and 7 are going to go right on top of this. So this is how the guide's used, and I think it really does a lot of help. It's like having the teacher at home with you. And Chris always says it's Donna in the box when you get the kids, but it is nice to have the actual teacher's strokes at home with you. So look, we have a team here and we all work on getting these all done, so they're just great for you guys to practice at home. All right, so then we're going to come right here and we do the 6th stroke is a U. So this is going to be the center. I was talking instead of telling you. So it's up, for the back, and then a U for the center, and then we're going to start here and curve to the side. So we push the white out, we stand up on the chisel and come in front. So now 5, 6, and 7 go right on top of here. So we're picking up all these colors again, but what's important is that you come right here and work them in again. But we need fresh paint on here. All right, so see where this is positioned? Okay, we're going to come right here and make that first stroke. And the second stroke is number 6. All right. Now, you have to put plenty of paint on here because it'll make it easier to stroke if you're not starving this for paint. All right, so 7 can come right here and go back, or it can come here and come forward. Okay, so look what happens next. We have 8 and 9. So 8 is right out here, but see, I can't see that color again. So let me show you what happens here. I'm going to stroke that over again. And so 8 comes right behind that bud and comes across. I'm going to get more paint, and then 9's over here. So look, you come right here and you wiggle a little bit and come around, and that's this stroke. And then 10, now this is what I want you to see, these little strokes here. So what happens here is that we're going to go on the chisel. Right here's the chisel. We take the chisel and we come across. All right? But what looks really nice, I'm going to go back to this stroke. All right? Now what looks nice are these little choppy strokes that are here. So you go 1, 2, 3. 1, 3. 2 and 3. All right? So that's how we get all of these little guys here. We just keep going in here, doing these side strokes like this. See that right here? You practice on there. And then this is practicing this way. All right? And then look what happens down here is we do 1, 2. Now watch this. You just keep doing these little flat, flat, flat strokes. So doesn't that look pretty? And then you keep practicing these, which is lean the white, come across, lean the white, lean the white, lean the white. And so you keep adding those in here. 1, 2, 3. But you can see it better right there. That's what I just did. All right. So let's look right here. So what I want you to see is that this is the same kind of rose we were doing. I'm going to do the bud later, but we have these little bit of waves back here, and then you're going to put the center in here. Then we're going to take and put the cup in front, which is a U, and then all you're going to do is little strokes in here, but you have to have strong white for those to show. Okay? And then we put a leaf on top of that. All right, so let's look at a rosebud. All right, so this rosebud down here, I'm going to wipe it so you can see it better. See that? All right, so we can come up with the rosebud goes up and over. Okay, so we're going to come up inside. All right, then we're going to come out here and come around. See how we're rolling the bud? All right, then we go back to these strokes where you lean the white and you come across. And look, the only way they show well is if you have strong white. And see how those buds come across there? So you see all the layers, but you have to have a color in there, whether it's a natural gray or tan or with the brown tones or blues or whatever you want to make your decor to match your house. okay? So that's what we're going to do, and it's going to be easier for you to see on the gray. But I do want to wipe this off, and I want you to practice some and then turn back the video back on, and I think you'll feel more comfortable doing one stroke at a time with me when we come back. Okay, so I've got my teaching guide. We've got our paint ready. We're using a 3/4 inch brush, wicker white, and yellow ochre. All right, I'm reloading it. I cleaned it out in between so that we can start fresh. I do not want you doing that often. I want you to then pick up some burnt umber and work that in. And we have a spot right here so we can pick up our paints, go here, work it in after the brush is full of paint. Remember, it's got to be 2/3 full. All right, and so the first thing we're going to do is make sure that you look at the steps here, and these are going to help you lay out your strokes. And I just want a smooth wave. All right, each one of these strokes across are nice and smooth. All right, so we should have 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. All right. Now I'm going to keep coming over here and flattening the brush, and then I'm going to work on the bud part. So I need it up here, and you got to make sure that you have enough of bright, clear wicker white, and then the rest of the blend that we're doing. All right, so we flatten it out there again, and we're going to come across here and make kind of like a U shape there, okay? All right, so then what happens, I can come here and get more because I need to continually get fresh paint when I'm working on this, all right? So stroke 8 comes across here and across here. Now, I skipped 7, so let's go back. That's why the guide's really good. How did I get from 5 and 6 all the way to 8? I came here and put another little stroke up there. So you're starting your layering, all right? And then we have 8, 9, and then 10 came chiseled right there and across here, which means I need fresh white again because I can't see it. That's your key. All right, and now what happens from here is we're building this back. It's a cup, and we continue to come around from the back, and then we're going to add a little bit more out here. But see, I keep cupping it from the center. Now this is when you can come around like this with nice smooth waves, all right? Now, this is the fun part in here. So far you haven't done any major structure except stroke and practice these guys, all right? Because that makes it easy for you to lean out. And when I say lean out, think about this really good, guys. You're leaning, I touch here, lean the white, and stand up and scoop it around. So that's the only stroke. Lean the white, lift. All right. Now more white. And now this is what happens. I'm going to go 1, 2, 3, 4. And we're going to continue to pick up paint and do another. They're little flat strokes all in there. Flat, 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 flat. All right, so see how we're building this? Now, you're going to lean out and come across, lean and come across. All right. You can do some thinner ones in between here, and those are just standing up on the chisel. But then we lean out, and you can lean out twice even and come across. All right, so it just makes a pretty little rose. This is a little bit more yellow than my original one, but I love this color. All right, so let's come over here and do this half rows. Okay, so I still have the 4 strokes. All right, and then we need the center. I would turn this around just a little bit so I can get to it. I'm trying to do it so you can see it too, though. All right, and so then I finish the cup. All right. Then you're going to come back up here again and start. I'm sorry, I'm going to lift this a little bit right here. And come on this side. Okay. And then all we're going to do is chisel there and stroke around. And those are those little choppy strokes where it's chop, chop, chop. All right. And then we're coming around, touch, lean, and come around. All right. So what's going to happen on this flower right here is we're going to put leaves all in there. I'm going to get in front of you, but anyway, so what I want you to see on here is we see all this pretty layering, and all in here we just add leaves on it, okay? All right, we get more paint, and now we want this bud. So what's happening with this bud is we do the back skirt, which is part of the cup, or the center of the rose. Up here. Then, because I'm upside down, I'm just going to do another one here. All right, so now you lean out and come across. Lean out. And then you can come across in the center. But I also came here and did some little short strokes across here. And then leaned across. Okay, it looks like the little wedding rosebuds, which are kind of fun. All right, and we put leaves all around that, or berries. What did I put? I put some leaves. All right, so if you're happy with your roses, that did not take very long, but if you practice, you'll enjoy those simple flat strokes, and they're right here for you to practice with me. Okay? So next step, let's look and see what we used. Now we're going to do these little twigs. I used my number 2 script liner instead of a flat and the chisel like I usually do vines, because I really wanted to concentrate on it being like little twigs instead of branches, okay? So we want little twigs, and then these are mini berries, and those are really fine little script liner strokes. So I'm going to come here, and it says that I used thin burnt umber, but I added just a little bit of yellow ochre just to get some color besides just the brown. Sometimes I use white, but I want that rich color. So look, I did burnt umber with a little bit of water, and I streaked yellow ochre through it. Okay, so I'm going to pull my project over here so I can see it a little better. And I'm just coming here and pulling these strokes up into here where the berries are going to go. All right. And I did follow in here. And what I wanted to do, you can kind of see, I have some of these little branches with, no, not branches, little vines. And I have a few going out this way. And if you saw, as we're doing lettering, that you can chisel real thin looking, and then you could put pressure and get it bigger looking. All right, so I'm going to stroke a little bit through Wicker white for these little teeny berry stems, okay? And they did come, a couple of them here with that little bit of white, and they're really thin. All right, and then down here at the end, little teeny thin guys that we're going to put those little teeny dots on. All right, so same thing happens up here. I don't know if you can see, I don't want my hand in your way. Little berries. It's easier when you're this close to this edge here to pull towards you. And I do want it brown because the berries are white, so I don't want this too white. Let's see, there we go. All right. And I can put my larger berries and then add the stems later, but mostly put in my twig branches all through here. I think that'll be easier for us. Come in. So this is non-inky paint. This is thicker paint, but thin, so that it looks like twigs. And remember what I said, I wanted it a little bit longer than it was over there. And let me get more burnt umber. And this is going to be some little branches. So I want to work on these leaves now, and what happens here that is I'm usually using on all of these smaller ones the 12 flat, and also for these where I'm adding the decorative colors to the outside edge. But then there's some larger ones here. I use a 3/4 inch width flat, and I will do those with you as we get ready for those. But I kind of put all of these colored ones in first because they, to me, are the, besides the rose, they're the feature. All right, so I'm going to come around here, and I am going to pick up some yellow and work it in, split my brush and work it into the sap green, okay? Or I can dip some and work it in. I am going to go in a little bit of floating medium so I can get this blended really nice. The 12 gets full in the brush pretty quickly. All right, so I will continue to come here and pick up little bits of yellow, and then I'm going to pick up little bits of red. So now that we get the paint all like we want on here, you're going to practice and see if you got the colors we want. So I'm stroking on here. These are your practice areas, and when I use the red, I'll come over here and we'll try it right on here and see what it looks like. Okay. Now let's just start just a plain one over here that's not too fancy, and I'm going to wiggle. See, your brush isn't straight like this, but it isn't laying down because then you can't get the colors that you need. So we're going to go right here, and it's just a little bit of pressure and go to a point, and then come back, go to a point, come back, and then slide to the tip. Now the key to this is to go very slow when you do your first strokes. All right, now you can come in here and just go on this outside edge on the same side of a couple of leaves as you're going. But look, I put a little bit of pressure, not a lot, and then I stand up. So I did both those sides so far. Now I'm going to pick up a little bit of yellow ochre, and you can come over here and see if this is looking like you want it to look. See? I'm practicing it there. See if I've got it like I want it. All right, so the yellow ochre's on this bottom, and then I slide back. Then I picked up a little bit of red. So watch this. This is apple red. All right, so I can go right here and see if I like that. Look, it's perfect. All right, so it was already with the yellow ochre. And then I come right here, and I come back, and then I add the red to the tip. Now, you see how easy that was? Let's get a little bit of apple red again. And we're going to come out here. Come back. So even if you do a little wave to there, and then you come back like you've ended the leaf, but then we come and do another one, and then we come in here full. You got to make sure you're nice and full there, and then stand up. All right, so you have to have this fullness in this part of the leaf. And then we can pull a stem in. All right, so this takes practice, but they're fun. As you can see, they're not super difficult, but you do need to practice. Now, I want you to see that even if you do these little guys right here, where I use a little bit of red, and I just make a little wave going just one way. You can put green on one side, red on the other. Let's do it again. I'm going to do red. This is apple red with a sap green. And see, that's just kind of fun. You can push down and do a little bit of wave. All right. And we're going to do this with yellow. With the moon yellow, and then we're going to grab little bits of red, and we're going to do this whole leaf right on our piece. And as we're creating that shape, I've got all the shapes right here for you. So you just practice on here till you feel comfortable and break this up to segments like we're going to be doing. So moon yellow, apple red, okay? And if I bring this here, let me show you. I'm going to work this in. And if you look at this, it's got a little bit of darker on the outside edge. And so we'll bring in some burnt umber. All right, so look what happens here. You see if that's the right color? Perfect. See that? Now look, we can push and stroke. We can wiggle and stroke. Wiggle one side, stroke smooth on the second side. And then you pull your stem inside. So I'm going to go back here and pick up paint, and then look. See how beautiful that color is? And that's because the color's right on the brush. So now that we practice, I want you to practice more. I want you to feel comfortable with it, and I want you to be ready to come. This is showing you how I just added yellow on the outside edge of it, okay? So let's look at the 3/4 inch again. Okay, so let me show you how we load this. We're going to pick up some floating medium and even yellow ochre, white, other yellow, that moon yellow, and then we'll just work it in because I want it muted. Okay, all right, and then these are the ones that you can just practice larger. So you've got the right color on your brush. You're coming here and you're going to do two sides here. I can put a little bit more yellow. Loop, 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 and slide. And then you practice like that. And then these are the ones that are fun too. The dark sap greens on the outside edge. And then you just move over instead of flipping the brush. And you leave the dark green still on the right side. And you loop along here. And you make a fun little leaf where the dark green's there, dark green's in the middle. So you push and stand, or you wiggle. And that's how you make that one. And that's the stroke. So you just make sure you get all the colors right, and you're ready to go. So I'm going to leave this right here so we can see it as we're creating these leaves. But we're going to go on here first. These leaves that we did right here, I did those at the end. And I just put a few of those here and there on top of our vines. But what I wanted you to see is I had the large leaf here too in case you have a different surface and you want larger leaves. So you got the 3/4 stroke leaves and the 12 flat leaves. Okay, we're going to do one of these leaves with all the pretty colors. I just want to show you really quick again now that we practice. We want to do this leaf, this leaf. This is some of the dark colors that we use, and here's another shaped leaf. All right, and see the dark ones I kind of put on top at the end because there's one peeping back there in the back also. So we're going to pick up moon yellow and sap green, and we're going to work that into your 12 flat. All right, so I don't want it that bright, so I'm going to come pick up some wicker white on the moon yellow, Remember, when you're loading on your worksheet, go practice the stroke and make sure the color's right before you get started. All right, so over here, I want to make sure you guys can see this. We're going to come right across here and then come back down. So that's the first segment. I'm going to pick up some yellow ochre. As I'm coming here, I'm going to go ahead and put this coming back to the center. And then I came over here and pulled back. All right, so I'm going to wipe this gently. Where the yellow ochre is, I'm going to add a little bit of apple red. Okay, so I came right on top of here and just touched it a little. Do you see that? And then, I'm not going to go quite as long as this one is, but I am going to pick up a little bit more apple red. And you know what, guys, every single one of these are going to be a different color, so you're never going to have the exact color on any of these that you do, because we're multi-loading and we're picking up all this color and pulling it back. Okay? Now, I'm going to wipe this a little bit because I want moon yellow, a little bit of red. Okay, a little bit of green and yellow. Then we put the red. Just play with it till you get the colors you want. All right, so this one is coming down here and here. All right, so then we're going to take a stem right into the middle. And you can pull some of these colors out. See that? Okay, now this one up here, I want to make it a little bit lighter. Use a teeny bit of wicker white and work this in so that when I'm coming up here, okay, I get a nice color there. But then I'm going to touch that red, apple red, and I'm going to come back this way. And it's easier to turn the whole piece over, but not in front of the camera. So I'm going to come in here and come up with just a tinge of that pinky red on the side, which is apple red. And just remember, at any time, you can do what I'm doing right now. You can come in here and add a little bit more of the red to it, all right? Now, we're going to come down here and do this guy, and just keep looking at your picture so you know what you're doing. This is the one that's a little bit like this. All right, so I just want to get some of these colors in here, work this in. All right, so I picked up a little bit of moon yellow. I'm going to come right here, and we are going to a point, and then look, you push it down and come back, and then you go out to a point, and then you come back, and then right in here, I picked up a little bit stronger paint. I'm going to come to there. Now I'm going to add a little bit of apple red up in here, come back a little bit, and stand up. So you can take and pull your green out a little bit, and then you can pull your stem into it. All right, so I just come in here a little bit with some yellows. This is the moon yellow. Okay, and you can pull some more color. See, that's too thick, so all I'm going to do is pull it out. And let's get a little bit of sap green. There we go. All right. So we've got all these pretty rich colors in there, and then I want to do this little guy over here. And then we're going to do some of those more red leaves. All right, so in this one, I do start out with the sap green and moon yellow. All right, so we're coming right here and pull it back. And a little bit up here too. I need the yellow on the outside. There we go. All right, then I'm going to wipe this a little bit because I want a nice moon yellow and apple red. Okay, so I'm going to come right in here. I'm not going to totally stay where my pattern was because I want it to come more this way. And then I'm going to put a little bit of burnt umber on this edge with the red. With our apple red, and then come down. Okay, so you can lightly, if you pull these colors to make them blend better, you lightly just barely touch it with the chisel. But let's come in here and add a little bit of brighter color in here. Okay? And then I can come in here and pick up a little bit of yellow. And then we take the burnt umber. Let's get some more burnt umber. And let's come into the leaf. Okay? So those are more bright. They're muted and bright at the same time. Now, one of the things I like to do now is I have this brush with these colors on it. So I can come in here and do little one-stroke leaves. Those are some of the leaves that we had on our project. Let me get a little bit of our colors in here. All right. We'll pick up a little bit of brown, burnt umber, a little bit of red, some yellow, and we're just going to put a few of these here and there. So mix all the colors up, come up with some pretty shades with the colors that we're using, and it'll make you happy, I promise. I'm going to put a few of them in here. And I have all those different colors on your sheet. And don't get carried away with leaves. I do that quite often, so I'm going to wash this off. I am going to do a couple of those big light green leaves that I need. And so a little teeny bit of sap green, moon yellow, a little bit of wicker white. And I'm going to blend this in, work it in together till it's light. All right, floating medium. Okay, and teeny bit more of sap. Okay, so now this brush, remember, we're not going to push down hard at all. This brush is going to come right in here and make a pretty leaf there. The second leaf to cover that part that that's not finished on the rose. Okay, and then over here, we wiggled up and back down, and we pull a stem. I have another one here, just like the one in the guide. There we go. I did have one little one here. So right here, isn't this kind of pretty? I love all these really fun leaves in here. And then one little skinny one. See, I'm not pushing down at all on that. If you can see, I'm staying up on the chisel. Let me go back over this. There we go. All right. So my leaves are bigger, but I'm still thinking I'm going to be happy. Now I'm going to make, remember, the moon yellow, the apple red. All right. These are some of those really pretty rich ones at the end. some burnt umber. Okay, so I want one of them right here. All right, I did another one right in here. And to make this look better right here, I did add some of that really pretty red in the leaves. And let's grab that again. All right, so I have a really good one right here. Okay. And let's put another leaf there. And since I was up here a little high, see how you can just add that color? I am going to come here and do a couple of these brighter leaves. Okay, there we go. Now we want to do our berries. So let's go back and look at this berry. So what's going to help you here is it says that after we made the twigs, we're doing apple red and burnt umber with yellow ochre. All right, so we have yellow ochre, apple red, there we go. And I wanted that yellow ochre to be in the bottom of the berry. And at the top, I just wanted this burgundy look, which is the apple red and the burnt umber. And you can come back later and put the lighter colors on the bottom. And we can take all this chalk away and you can see better. All right. But I went half circle, and you practice on here first. It's going to help you right there. Half circle, and then you do the other way. One way, and then the other way. And so we do it up and above, and then we're going to start here, and we're going to turn it and do it under. And under, okay? Now those are a little big. I'm going to try to get them smaller. Okay? Let's try to do it really small here. Okay, then we did some up here, and so I put the dark up. Let's get the burnt umber and the red again. So look, we did one up, and then we have one hanging down here somewhere with the yellow ochre on the bottom. We have a couple up here. Kind of like these are more of the size of cherries. Okay. So I mostly had them right around here, but look what happens if I get the yellow, moon yellow, and a little bit of yellow ochre. All right, so we're putting the second half of that circle on by putting the yellows at the bottom. Okay. All right, so what we need for those is we need the twigs. So I am going to come in here and just take away a little bit of that chalk so I see where I need my branches, okay? And we've got to attach those twigs. Okay, so all that's dry by now anyway. So what I'm doing is I'm taking a moistened number 12 flat and just wiping off so that I can see better where I still need to work. All right. All right, or where I need to put my little twigs. So I'm going to get burnt umber, roll it on the 2-script liner, and I'm going to grab these little berries, or these big berries, and pull them back. Grab these little guys, and any leaves that need a stem. All right, and then the last thing that goes on are these little white berries. And what I did with these little teeny ones is that I used not just white, I made it a little creamy looking, but the lettering is white too, so that's fine. But I just came here and made a mixture so it's not pure white. I'll wash that off. And I'm going to dip and dot those. All right, so I put a cluster of them, and you want to do a nice dip and not the side of the handle, not the tip of the bristles. They're just little dots. And then I can come back and put little teeny vines, attaching them if it needs it. But what I did on mine is I came and put one little black twig. Okay, look, we get enough fresh paint. You can't, I have a lot of artists that try to do this with old leftover paint. Fresh paint is what you need for these to look good. All right, over here. All right, and then I have some through here. So I kind of balance these out. And I don't have it there, but I think we need some over there on this group. Okay. So one thing that I do like is I put a teeny bit of red, apple red, with my liner brush. Little teeny bit in here. And then I grabbed some moon yellow on the 2-script liner with touches of wicker white. And I am tapping those in there. And that's too much white. I need more yellow. So I could just come in here. That's looking better there. But see, it's getting too muddy. So I can come back in here with a little bit more moon yellow on this. But then I think the wicker white, just touches of that, kind of added to it, so it's not, see, that looks kind of muddy. So if I put more little dots, it looks like I finished that off a little bit. Okay, and that just gave you a little bit inside of the flower. And then the last thing I did was pick up a little bit of this licorice. All right, so I just want a little twig. So I would not paint with that, with it being thick, but all I need is a touch of this. So what I did was, ever so lightly, I put a little black twig on each of those little white berries. These are the mini berries. Okay, so we are going to, if you haven't, do all your lettering now that you have it all ready. I have to do mine still, but you might have stopped and done yours by now. And then you just decorated with this fun, different leaves, fun fall colors. I was really happy with all these shades. They were fun. All right, so all I have to do is put little bits coming out, but I also have to grab a little bit of the burnt umber, which is already inky, on the 2 script liner. And I'm going to grab these berries really thin, not thick like we've done, but really light and airy. Okay, so we're going to add these. These are called the mini berries with little itty bitty twigs. All right. I'm going to straighten this up and pull our original sample and let you see they're different. This is still bigger. That's what I tend to do usually. This took me a lot of work to be small. So any way you like it, I think that these colors are a little bit more vivid. Love these shades of reds in here. But look how fun that is. And this could be a perfect fall project. Okay, I told you that would be fun. Are you ready to hang this in your house? I can't wait to go home and put mine in my house. I am actually taking it right here from the Plaid studio, and it's got a perfect place already. Now, I love that we painted that rose together. That's a different rose. You know, we just did those choppy little strokes to make it simple. No wiggles. It was fun, right? And then learning those leaves and putting together that big of a sign with simple lettering made it fun for everybody. So let me tell you what I would love for you to do. If you haven't already, please go join the Facebook group, Let's Paint with Plaid. And you know what? I would love to have you take pictures and tag them with hashtag Let's Paint Challenge and post them on our Facebook group. You will meet so many wonderful people there and be able to see lots of beautiful lessons that are being done from this Plaid wonderful studio. Now, I can't wait to see you next month, because next month we're doing our final lesson, and it's all about the winter and the December and snow and lots of fun, yummy things in this landscape that we're going to paint looking outside your window. So until I see you next time, let's paint.